Lesson 1, Learning from Data. At the conclusion of this lesson, you will be able to differentiate between what data shows and why that might be the case. You want to use Google Trends to tell us data story. It's just another tool for extracting some data. Explain the usefulness of metadata and what metadata is. As a warm-up, first, I want to welcome you to Unit 9. The Create task is behind you. We're forging on with the last 2 units prior to your big AP exam. In this unit, we're going to learn how to organize and visualize data to answer questions. We'll make charts, look for patterns, and consider the impact that data collection has on our world. Let's get things started by asking a question. What time of year do people tend to search online for chocolate? How could you check your guess? Pause the video and jot down your thoughts. Okay, if you said, maybe I could Google the question, maybe I could ask people, do a survey, check with your local stores, look for distribution of chocolate. Lots of different ways that you could maybe look for your answer. Search tools are useful for efficiently finding information. How can we analyze our searches to discover patterns or trends? Well, let's find out. When you post information to a social network, when you watch a video online, or simply search for information on a search engine, some of that data is collected, and you reveal what topics are currently on your mind. When a topic is quickly growing in popularity, it is often said to be trending. But there are many different trends or patterns we might find in this data, including historical trends. These patterns might help us to identify, understand, and predict how our world is changing. We will be using Google Trends, which is a tool that allows you to visualize data to visualize data about search history across different times and locations. We can use it to look for interesting patterns, trends, or relationships between multiple trends and try to tell the story that the pattern is showing. Now, what you want to do is Google Trends. Searches for chocolate over the past 5 years. This is what comes up when you use Google Trends. And by the way, at this point, if you have not already, please pause the video and log into code.org, navigate to Unit 9, Lesson 1. Now, what pattern do you notice? What could be the reason for that pattern? Does the data support your earlier guesses from our initial warm-up? What do you think? Note what you're thinking in your notes, in your journal. All right, this chart gives us information. It's a collection of facts and patterns extracted from data. We can use this information to identify trends, make connections, and address problems. Okay. When I'm looking at this, it appears that there are definitely times of the year where the searches or people are looking for chocolate. Okay, what does the data show? Why might that be the case? Those are 2 very different and distinct questions. One is a fact, and the other is an opinion. The what is the facts of the matter. Chocolate searches spike in December. The why is an informed opinion. Chocolate searches spike around the time of the winter holidays because it's a common gift. It also spikes again in February, Valentine's Day. Now, let's explore Google Trends together. Again, you can either type this link in or you can click on the link in Unit 9, Lesson 1. What can we do with this tool? Well, you can add search items, 1 or more. You can compare graphs. You can control location, time, search category, and more. Look for patterns in data. Play with this tool. Investigate. What I want you to do is, if we are still virtual, or if you are doing this at home on your own because you missed class, then you'll do it by yourself. Otherwise, in class, we want to work with a partner, and you want to look for a data story. It's a lot more interesting to talk about the data and what you think is happening. Try different search items and play with the drop-downs to focus on a particular location or time period. What interesting things do you uncover? What questions can you answer with your charts? Define what facts and why opinions. Tell me what is a fact about it and what's your opinion about it. Again, pick a topic that you enjoy, a question that you might want to ask. Okay, it could be about sports or music or food, really anything at all. Okay, so pause the video and take about 10 minutes to play with and explore Google Trends. You're back. Fantastic. Using Google Trends to find patterns represents an important concept in understanding how programs are used to gain insight and knowledge from data. When you worked with the tool, there were elements of both interaction and iteration. You interacted with the tool by trying out several different options, and you repeated the process, iteration, until you came to a possible conclusion. As you were determining the why in your data stories, you may have been tempted to draw concrete connections. However, it is important to remember that correlation, similarities, and patterns does not equal causation. This thing caused that thing. There can be any number of reasons why a pattern or interesting data point may appear in a chart, and our job is to make an informed decision while recognizing that there may be multiple factors at play. Usually, additional research with several data sets is necessary to understand the exact nature of the relationship between data. Did this one thing cause another thing to happen? Do more people search for chocolate because they want to give it as a gift? Or could there perhaps be another reason? Correlation does not equal causation. When I was in college and taking a statistics class and talking about correlation and causation, it was noticed in looking at data that violent crimes, things like muggings, rape, etc., tended to increase when the sale of ice cream increased. Now, as logical human beings, we all know that ice cream does not cause one to commit violent crimes. So while there was a correlation, there was not a causation. People do not commit violent crimes and then go eat ice cream, and the eating of ice cream did not cause people to go and commit violent crimes. What it turns out is that the temperature increases. As the temperature increases during spring and summer, more people are outside later at night. And so this provides more opportunity for criminals that would maybe crimes of such crimes as muggings and rape that are in dark places when people are outside in the evening. When it's freezing cold and snowing and blizzarding, people just aren't outside, so those opportunities do not present themselves. So again, correlation, causation, both things increase, but the cause, okay, or the reason they're both increasing is because more people are out and about, or it's hotter and people want to eat ice cream to cool off. Now, in this unit, we will be making charts to help answer questions. I think this visualization tells me this. Something is more popular than something else. Something is more important than something else. Something has become more or less searched over time. But I'm not sure because I don't know exactly how the data was collected. This might tell me people searched for green more than red, but it doesn't tell me why they do that or that green is a better color. We need more data. When we consider data sets, it's helpful to know as much about those data sets as possible. Where did the data come from? How much data is included? When was it collected? All of this information is considered metadata, which is defined as data about data. We can have metadata about any digital data. For example, a picture contains metadata that tells us the when the picture was created, what the resolution is, and how many people have downloaded it. Datasets can also have metadata that explains more about the information in the dataset. You've seen this in the App Lab. Again, knowing where data came from, knowing how it was collected, what it was collected from. There's a big difference in collecting basic arithmetic scores from an AP Calc class and from a 4th grade class. Both are collected from students. What kind of students? What's the age? What's the previous educational background? Things like that. Metadata, data about data. Here's a picture. The picture's data. But here is information about that picture, which is metadata. What is the metadata for the chart you created in Google Trends? Go back and look for it. And because you could have picked so many different things or so many different possibilities, but you should be able to tell where the data was collected, how it was collected, who provided it, things like that. Now we're going to explore metadata in App Lab in the data sets that you've used in previous units. Where can we find this information? What can it tell us about the data? How can it help us organize the data? We're going to find out. I want you to go to Unit 9, Lesson 1. Navigate to Level 2. Open up Data tab. Look for the metadata for a table. I'd like you to notice, what does this table contain? Where does the data come from? What other useful information is found in the metadata? Take a moment, pause the video, and just jot down your answers to these questions. Okay, some takeaways. And these are important. When looking at visualizations, you need to consider what. What does the data show? That's a fact. Why might that be the case? That's opinion. Two very different things. Be careful when making assumptions about data. Correlation does not equal causation. Metadata are data about data. It can be changed without impacting the primary data. It's used for finding, organizing, and managing information. Sometimes you want to look at your emails and you want to look at the most recently sent or received. That information about when it was sent or received is metadata. Metadata increases effective use of data by providing extra information. If I'm looking at styles that are being sought after online, what kinds of styles of sweaters are people looking for? Depending on what I want to use it for, I would probably want more recent stuff. If I'm a store and I want to stock up on what people want, I don't want to look at fashions that were 10 or 15 years old. Okay? Metadata also allows data to be structured and organized. There's data, and then there's data about data. Data about data is called metadata. That's your vocabulary word for today. Now, next up is Unit 9, Lesson 2, Exploring One Column.